我就算饿死，我也不会做擦边女。
I would rather starve than become a borderline content creator. But after a year of being unemployed, she danced harder than anyone. Turns out, compared to starving, crossing the line is easier to accept. I'm a married woman. There's no way I'd ever do that kind of borderline content. But in the end, she still gave in. The pressure of paying off her credit card and mortgage was too much. Borderline content creators, also known as borderline streamers, usually refer to those on livestream or short video platforms who wear revealing clothes or act flirtatiously to grab attention. They often make money through soft, suggestive content that brings in views and tips. On Chinese short video platforms, this kind of streamer has become more common. Why? Because of how easy it is to get started and how big the profits seem. But the bigger reason is that China's economy is slowing down. Foreign companies are pulling out, and university graduates are struggling to find jobs. Many young people are unemployed as soon as they graduate. Some get laid off or have their salaries cut. In this environment, more and more people are turning to borderline streaming to make quick money and get by. One streamer called Fat Dan Dan says she's a university graduate. She couldn't find a job, so she decided to give this kind of content a try. She even recorded her journey on Douyin as she learned how to become a borderline streamer. That actually got her quite a few fans. Still, a lot of people don't accept what she's doing. Many believe that after going through years of education, a university graduate should find a proper job, not rely on this kind of content to survive. But there are also those who support her. One viewer said, "She works hard, dances to please me, and doesn't scam me for money or anything. She's a stranger, but still willing to let me watch. That's not vulgar, that's salvation." Another joked, "If I ever lose my job, I'll give it a try too." Young graduates joining the borderline dance trend is one thing. After all, job hunting is tough, but now even pregnant women are doing it, dancing and twisting their waists with baby bumps. It's shocking to see. On one hand, you have to admire their courage and adaptability. On the other, you can't help but feel that people today will do anything for views and money. Some say this looks ridiculous, but it reflects the sadness of our times. Others are worried. If this trend catches on, what kind of twisted thoughts might some people have when they see pregnant women offline? For young people, becoming a borderline streamer can seem much more attractive than a regular job.
同学靠做擦边主播。
My classmate does borderline streaming and makes 3,000 or 4,000 yuan a day. Her monthly income is in 6 figures. We both just graduated, but the difference is huge. What I make in a month doesn't even come close to what she makes in a day. I want to try it too. Is there a company out there that wants me? Please reach out.
我前同事
My former colleague became a borderline streamer, and now she can afford to buy a house in Beijing. I want to try it too. Seriously, is this job really that profitable?
这么挣钱吗？这好。
Some say the borderline economy is actually a reflection of the real economy. If you want to know how the economy is doing, just check how many borderline videos are on Douyin. When there are a lot of them, it means the economy is doing badly. After all, if people could make money in proper ways, who would choose to do this? These streamers are probably dealing with overdue credit cards or mortgages they can't pay. They're walking this path because they have no choice.
各位有没有发现这样一个现象？从去年开始，抖音里的擦边女
Have you noticed that since last year, there's been a big increase in borderline content, borderline videos, and borderline streamers on Douyin? I believe this is because the Simp economy has collapsed. Hear me out. Here's a basic economic data. Women usually get higher credit card limits and easier approval for loans than men. Why? 2 reasons. First, women spend more. Second, they're better at repaying, either by themselves or with the help from men. And those men, simps, used to be the ones paying off the bills for them. But now, with the economy doing badly, those simps aren't making money either. They can't even take care of themselves, let alone pay for someone else. And if they can't cover the bills, why would the women keep them around? So now we're seeing a new trend, simps getting dumped. And what do they do after a breakup? They go online. They can't afford to flatter women with money in real life, but sweet talking online is free. That's why social media is suddenly full of them. On the flip side, the women have lost their financial support. No one's helping them pay anymore. So what do? They turn to self-media. They adapt. They join the online content world too.
This content creator actually makes some good points. The rise in borderline streamers on social media is a chain reaction caused by the downturn in the economy. When times are tough, wealthy people either become fewer or tighten their wallets. That bold, generous way of chasing women just isn't happening anymore. So, with fewer men spending money on women in real life, these women lose their financial backing. But they just can't sit around and do nothing, right? That's why many of them turn to using borderline videos to attract fans and make quick cash. After all, switching to a more traditional career path takes time and money. Compared to that, borderline streaming is fast and effective. And what about those former simps? Spending a lot of money offline just isn't sustainable anymore. Now they're smarter. They go to Douyin, tap the like button, and maybe send a small virtual gift. It costs just a few cents, and they still get to enjoy the show. It's basically the trend of affordable alternatives at work, everyone tightening their belts. In the end, both the women and the men get what they want. Ironically, the economic winter is what made this borderline industry take off. But like some people already pointed out, the space is now overcrowded. Only the top streamers are really making money.
我播间现在4200个人，虽然榜一才刷了9块9。
I've got 4,200 people in my stream right now. Sure, the top viewer only sent me 9.9 yuan, but isn't that a good sign? As long as I stay flirty every day, my stream will definitely take off. I'm in great shape every day, and I know I'll make it big. I'm just one step away from blowing up. She seems pretty confident, but getting famous isn't that easy. Just listen to someone in the industry talk about the harsh reality of borderline streaming. It might make her reconsider.
Being a borderline streamer is probably one of the hardest jobs out there. It might seem like all you do is sit in front of a camera, greet some big boss viewers, and then you make tens of thousands of yuan a month. But the truth is, that money comes from a deep sense of desperation. Let's say she makes 30,000 yuan a month. That should mean about 1,000 yen a day, right? But it doesn't work like that. She's not getting paid steadily every day. She has to wait. She has to endure. She waits for a big boss to suddenly show up and drop a big gift like a carnival or a rocket. That one gift might hit her half-month goal. Then she waits again. She doesn't know if anyone will come, but she still has to smile through it all. Every day she answers the same boring questions. Where are you from? Did you get plastic surgery on your nose? Are you thinking about getting married?
So, to survive, she has to stream constantly and deal with all kinds of awkward or even nasty comments. Whether or not a big boss shows up depends on luck. Meanwhile, she's forced to keep smiling at the screen while dodging inappropriate remarks. She can't show anger, and she can't get distracted. She just has to keep pushing through. And if she slips up, she could get reported and lose her account. But what's worse than the unstable income is the loneliness after logging off. Streams often end at 2 or 3 in the morning. There's no one to talk to, no classmates, no friends. Then the next day starts all over again. Mentally and physically, it wears you down. After a few years, youth is gone. Other jobs might offer growth or career progress, but for borderline streamers, all they have is a bunch of big boss contacts saved in their phones, people they only keep around through constant attention. There's no real gain. And later on, those true big bosses, the one with real power and money, wouldn't want anything to do with someone who made their name in this kind of work. For someone with self-respect, this lifestyle is hard to swallow, especially for women who are conventionally attractive. Deep down, there's a sense of shame. But this industry is like a trap. Once you get used to earning tens of thousands a month, it's really hard to go back to a normal job that pays 3,000 or 5,000. Most don't want to make that switch. Many can't. That's why once you enter this space, it's hard to get out. The truth is, while it may look profitable in the short term, in the long run it leads nowhere, and the damage it does can last a lifetime. So if you don't become a borderline streamer, how's the situation for other types of content creators? According to people in the industry, now that short videos and self-media platforms have become so widespread, the number of creators has exploded. From college graduates to unemployed people, everyone wants a slice of the pie. But in China today, the self-media industry is no longer booming. It has entered an extremely competitive phase. Every niche is already flooded with creators, and many accounts are producing the same kind of content. But the total traffic is limited. With too many people and not enough attention to go around, the competition is intense. Content-wise, people just copy each other. Borderline dancing, comedy skits, they're everywhere. There's less and less originality. When it comes to earnings, top creators are making tons of money. But for small and mid-level streamers, even staying up all night to go live might only bring in a few yuan in tips. The gap between them is huge. The golden age of self-media is over. In the end, most people walk away with nothing.
有没有可能我们都被骗了？
Have we all been fooled? There's a trending topic right now about a wave of creators going back to regular jobs. I follow a creator with over 500,000 followers, and even she started job hunting last week. She said she wanted a change of environment, but let's be honest, if you're really making money, who would want to go back to being overworked and underpaid? Let me tell you a secret. Back in 2021, I worked as a director at a multi-channel network company. About 90% of the accounts weren't making any money. You might think a creator with 1 million followers can earn 20 to 30,000 yuan for one ad, but in reality, they only get a few ad deals each month, if any. And once you subtract the cost of filming, travel, and even the plastic surgery some of them regularly need, there's barely anything left. Now that competition is even fiercer, advertisers are slashing their budgets, sometimes cutting payments in half. If you take the job, you feel like you're settling for scraps, but if you don't, you risk having no work at all. This creator also warned everyone. There are 3 types of content you definitely shouldn't try this year. First, beauty influencers. It's a super crowded space, hard to make money, and their private messages will drive you crazy. Second, travel creators. It may look dreamy, but in reality, they're constantly drifting from place to place. Third, pet influencers. Her friends are in that space and have dozens of cameras in their homes, but the ad rates are ridiculously low. So her advice? Just get a normal job. If you've got real skills, build yourself up first. But who doesn't want a good job? The problem is there just aren't enough quality positions out there for young people. According to official data from the Chinese Communist Party, the unemployment rate for young people not in school rose to 16.9% in February. That's 2 months in a row of increases, and the highest it's been in 4 months. The national urban unemployment rate hit 5.4%, the highest in 2 years. A former employee of the Hunan Provincial Bureau of Statistics told a Taiwanese media outlet that judging by the severe unemployment he sees among his friends and family, the real unemployment rate in China may actually be over 30% or even 40%. Do you know how many people are unemployed in Chongqing this year? I heard it's nearly 1 million, and that's just the young people. That means 1 in 5 doesn't have a job. Traditional industries are taking a big hit, and a lot of people are being forced out. A new coworker of mine was laid off by Mercedes-Benz. Even this morning, the driver of my ride-hailing car told me that so many people are switching to gig jobs like food delivery and ride services, and it's getting hard to even get orders. So how are they supposed to make money? Even government-related jobs and public service units are struggling to pay salaries, and layoffs or pay cuts are becoming more common. The job market is seriously tough right now. The CCP just wrapped up its 2 sessions meetings, and job creation was a major focus. It shows that this year's job market could be even worse than last year's. At a press conference during the 2 sessions, Minister of Human Resources and Social Security Wang Xiaoping said the number of new university graduates this year is expected to reach 12.2 million, another record high. As foreign companies keep pulling out and traditional industries keep shutting down, many college graduates in China are struggling to find jobs. Even students from top-tier universities are being forced to take jobs that don't match their qualifications. Some are turning to gig work or food delivery and self-media. The Chinese government calls this flexible employment, but now even those sectors are overcrowded. In recent years, more young people have started taking part in drug trials just to earn money, even though it puts their health at risk. I sold my body to make money. He told me I'd get 10,000 yuan for just 5 days, so I agreed. Early in the morning, I showed up at the meeting place he gave me. I didn't expect to see other girls too, but even more boys were lined up. Since there were limited spots, the guys at the front of the line nearly got into a fight over who arrived first. Some had lined up as early as 3 a.m. A few of the girls told me they had done this kind of thing several times before. When I asked if there were side effects, they paused and said, "What can we do? Our lives aren't worth that much anyway." I stood among them, not knowing what to say, because I was one of them. This creator said that since there were fewer girls, she quickly signed in and was put in a hotel that night. But she couldn't sleep. She was too nervous, and her roommate snored. The next day, during the health check, she was given a thick consent form and a page full of possible side effects. Without hesitation, she signed it. But because she hadn't slept the night before, her body didn't meet the standards and she was disqualified. On the way back, she met a man who had done drug trials for a long time. He admitted that the side effects were serious, but he used anti-anxiety meds to hide the symptoms and passed to health checks. He said, "The economy is bad. I don't have skills. I just live one day at a time. As long as I'm not starving, it's fine." Drug trial participants, also known as test subjects, have become more common in China in recent years. New drugs need to go through multiple tests on people before hitting the market. Some trials pay several thousand yuan, others pay tens of thousands. But the trade-off is real. It's your health on the line. Most people doing this are desperate or in urgent need of money. And from this girl's story, it looks like this line of work is also getting crowded. Research shows that unemployment doesn't just cause financial hardship, it also increases the chances of divorce, family breakdown, and crime. It seriously impacts mental and physical health. For individuals, it can be devastating.
我今年才27岁。
I'm only 27, but I feel like I've already hit rock bottom. I haven't been able to sleep well for over 10 days. Honestly, I don't even have a few dozen yuan to my name. Laugh if you want, but that's my situation. Sometimes I really wonder what the point of living is. I make 4,000 yuan a month, rent is 1,000, food and transportation cost me another 2,000, my social insurance takes another 500. That leaves me with just a few hundred yuan. With prices so high these days, I just can't survive. Everything costs money. I even have to use my credit card just to make it through the month. I feel more and more hopeless about life. Why do we work so hard? To live better, but I'm not living well at all.
Unemployment is now seen as one of the most urgent macroeconomic problems because of the serious damage it causes to both individuals and society.
这个就业问题真的很严峻。
The job market is terrible. It's not just that people over 35 are being pushed out. It's that even people who are 26 or 27 can't find jobs now. My college roommate makes 3,000 yuan a month. He works 2 12-hour shifts a day. That's exhausting work for such little pay, and it's in Tianjin. This year, over 10 million students are graduating and entering the job market. That's so much competition. As for me, I work as a real estate agent in Tianjin, but I can already tell this industry won't last long. If nobody's making money, who's going to buy houses? I know the government is telling people not to talk down the real estate market, but the truth is, people don't have money. Their wallets are empty. How can they buy homes? At this point, it's not about whether housing prices are high or low. It's about the fact that people are struggling just to afford basic needs.
George Magnus, a China expert at the University of Oxford, once said that every government should be concerned about young people who feel hopeless, because it leads to social instability. This is especially sensitive in China today. Other experts also warned that mass unemployment can hurt overall societal stability. In recent years, random acts of violence have increased in China. Unemployment may be triggering extreme emotions and antisocial behavior, pushing some people to hurt others. These incidents have been rising since last year and could become a long-term threat to China's society.